few minutes away from the 13th voyage of Atlantis with a crew of 6 on a 10-day flight to study the effects of the sun on the Earth's atmosphere. T-minus 3 minutes and counting.
Let's go for EP LO2 pressurization. PLT, clear caution warning memory, verify no unexpected errors. PLT inlet.
Retraction of the gaseous oxygen vent hood is now underway. The flight crew will close and lock their visors in the next few seconds.
OTC PLT, caution warning, memory clear is complete, no unexpected messages. After that, all crew members close and lock your visors and initiate O2 flow. We go to take Atlantis back to the skies. And we'll be happy to do that. We'll see you in about 11 days. Okay, let's go for EP LH2 pressurization.
Tank holding liquid hydrogen propellant used to feed the main engine is now being pressurized. Atlantis will be launched on a northerly trajectory on an orbit inclined 57 degrees to the equator.
1 minute 30.
Less than a minute away now from the launch of Atlantis, the 7th shuttle flight this year and the 66th space shuttle launch.
One minute.
Just past the 1 minute mark, Atlantis is now going to be operating from internal power supplies. At the T-minus 31 second mark, Atlantis' onboard computers will have control of vehicle functions. T-minus 35 seconds.
Let's go for auto sequence start.
In the next few seconds, thousands of gallons of water will be dumped on the platform to help absorb the shock of the 7 million pounds of thrust produced by the shuttle.
15.
Almost 15 seconds. 12, 11, 10, 9,
Let's go
8,
for main engine start.
7. We are go for main engine start. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Booster ignition and liftoff of Atlantis on a mission to study planet Earth.
Roll program, Houston.
Roger, roll, Atlantis.
Houston now controlling. Atlantis is underway on its 13th trip to space, rolling on course for a 57-degree inclination orbit, profiling north and south inclined orbit at an altitude of 160 nautical miles. Atlantis speed is already 350 miles an hour. 3 engines on Atlantis are now throttling back to 2/3 throttle to prepare the spacecraft to pass through the area of maximum air pressure and go supersonic. About 1 minute and 5 seconds since launch. Atlantis speed now 1,000 miles an hour. Altitude 7 miles, 5 miles east of the Kennedy Space Center.
Go at throttle up.
Roger, go at throttle up.
Atlantis 3 main engines are now back at full throttle. All systems on the spacecraft are go. 1.5 minutes since liftoff, Atlantis has already burned more than 2.25 million pounds of propellant and weighs less than half of what it did at launch. Atlantis altitude 84,000 feet, 12 miles northeast of the Kennedy Space Center. Atlantis speed now 2,200 miles an hour. Flight controllers are standing by for burnout and separation of the twin solid rocket boosters. Booster officer confirms a good separation and jettison of the twin solid rockets. Atlantis now on its second stage. Its three main engines continuing to operate well at full throttle.
Atlantis performance nominal.
Copy.
That call to Atlantis indicating that its performance on the solid rockets is just as planned to this point. Endeavour's three main engines will now continue to burn for another 6.5 minutes to reach orbital velocity.
Atlantis, two-engine Ben Guerrier.
Copy, two-engine Ben Guerrier.
Endeavour speed now 3,500 miles an hour. That call indicating that Endeavour could perform a transoceanic abort landing if needed on only two engines. All three engines continue to operate well, all systems in good shape. Endeavour is now 64 miles northeast of the Kennedy Space Center at an altitude of 40 nautical miles. The three main engines on Endeavour are now burning fuel out of the external fuel tank at a rate of about 1.5 tons per second. Atlantis altitude now 48 nautical miles, 102 miles northeast of the Kennedy Space Center. Atlantis speed is now 4,100 miles an hour. Minutes since liftoff. Over the next 4.5 minutes, Atlantis' current speed will triple to reach the 17,400 miles an hour required
Atlantis,
for
negative return.
We copy, negative return.
That call indicating that Atlantis has now gained too much altitude and is traveling too fast to perform a return to the Kennedy Space Center in the event of an engine problem. Atlantis altitude now 55 nautical miles, 157 miles northeast of the Kennedy Space Center. Atlantis speed 5,500 miles an hour.
Atlantis, press to ATO, select Zaragoza.